And we are back with another outstanding episode of the Square Table Degenerates. Today we are welcome to the show, actor, coach, Mr. Eliel Swinton. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. How are you, brother?
I'm doing good, man. It's finally a Friday. I'm done with work for this week. I think it's the Easter week, so it's like really hard for me to concentrate on work when like the kids are running around and they're all everybody else has the day off, but I got to go work. But, you know, it is what it is, man. You know how that is.
We're on spring break right now, so I feel you. That's what I'm talking to in the car.
Okay. Yeah, my kids got spring break next week, so that's I don't know what we'll probably just end up cleaning the house. I don't really think that's the thing, man. Everything's sold out now. Like you go to buy something, it's sold out or expensive, 3 times what it was back in the day. It's ridiculous, man.
Oh, we just came back from Vegas. Don't even talk about it, brother. We were so bad at Vegas. But now I got to say something real quick before we get started. 2 things I'm loving that you got on. I love that Cleveland shirt.
Yes,
my
sir.
Wife's from Ohio.
Okay.
And it's funny. every time I go back to Ohio, for 1 second, she'll let me yell, "OH!
I-O, baby!"
Yeah, that's so cool. And then you got my boy McCaffrey in the background.
I do. I tried to tailor the jerseys to whoever I got on. I was trying to think anything I could have Stanford, and I'm a Cleveland fan, boy. I don't have no John Elway shit, so that was the closest thing I had for you. So
C-Mac is the man. C-Mac is the man, dude. He is just unbelievable. He was unbelievable at Stanford, and what he's doing now in the NFL. Whew, surprising.
Man, when they traded him for like a second rounder or third, what a man, Carolina, what a hot mess, right? My goodness.
Right? I like your swag. I like good to see you over here.
I appreciate it, man. Same here too, dude. I just got done watching the movie, man. I'm not gonna lie, you haven't looked aged too much at all. I mean, you got a beard, maybe look 2-3 years older, but my goodness, dude, 25 years later, we're both still rocking it. I love it, man.
I just turned 49 on Wednesday too, believe it or not.
Okay, I'm 47. I'll be 48 in December. Wait, 48, right? Yeah. Gen X, man. Yeah. We're getting old. Can't keep counting that way there. It's so long ago, right?
One day you'll catch me.
Oh my gosh, right? Yeah. So the internet tells me you were born back in the day, Gen X, 70s, West LA Hills. What are some of your earliest memories growing up?
Earliest memories growing up, I was a water boy at age 3. So footballing for me has been my life. My 2 older brothers, Rick Swinton, Jamal Swinton, who both played college ball. My older brother played at the Washington State, Phenom. I never forget when he scored 2 touchdowns against Troy Aikman's team against UCLA. And Aikman's team was number 1, number 2 in the country. And my brother scored 2 touchdowns, and I was there in my little Pop Warner outfit. And that was a big experience for me. But my life has been football. I've been involved with football my whole life. Even as growing up a Jehovah's Witness, believe it or not, we were football Jehovah's Witnesses. So one of my early experiences that I truly remember is when there's one time we were playing against the San Fernando Braves. And I grew up in white society, right?
Right.
So other side of the valley was a place called Pacoima. If anybody knows the San Fernando Valley, Pacoima is hot. And that's where a lot of my boys today are from. But we played this team, man, and I never forget it. My daddy was like, "You're running soft." And these brothers was hitting the shit out of me, man. It wasn't I was running soft. I was from white society, and these brothers was bringing that hood stuff. And that's when me and my dad had to have that conversation about being a brother from the, suburbia and being a brother from the hood. And it was almost like the Rocky 4. It was like, they bleed just like you. You know what I mean? That whole thing. And yeah, that was one of my best experiences. Not a good one with me and my dad. He wasn't happy with me that day. But it did actually make me the player I am because, when you grow up in white society as a black guy, you can't have that fear of other brothers from the hood.
Now, were you growing up as a black, like you say, black kid in white society? Were you accustomed to the 80s stuff in LA? Were you like out there surfing, skateboarding? Were you just playing football, basketball? What were you doing besides football?
Jehovah Witnessing.
Okay.
I was knocking on doors, doing the witness thing. I did have my best friends, my boy Mike Gursey, who taught me how to boogie board at his dad's spot. My boy Tweez. I was also playing baseball, so I was involved in a lot of different things. But my main thing was football for sure. I was also a track athlete, baseball guy, but football was my main thing. And then, like I said, witnessing, literally, I witnessed until I was 21, until my fiance actually died in a car accident at the Stanford. That's when I stopped. But it was crazy little world that I grew up in. But
all right, so growing up in that kind of environment, were you listening, like what kind, were you ingrained in like regular pop culture, so to speak? Were you watching movies, listening to music, or were you just all church stuff? What was the deal there?
No. So, okay, I got you now. I got you. So when you grow up in white society, especially suburbia, especially in the 80s, remember, things were different than what they are now, right? It wasn't like the mixed cultures or the African-American that dives. I heard that Beyonce has a country music song out. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying it wasn't like that. So my first group that I actually liked, I would say was quote unquote Caucasian, let's just say. Duran Duran, Hungry Like the Wolf.
Okay.
I love Hungry Like the Wolf. I still love that song to this day because you got to be hungry like the wolf in life sometimes. And that's how I always felt that song was. What the song was actually about, but to me, it's about being hungry like the wolf. Like anything in life that you want, you got to be hungry like a wolf. That means you have to go after it all you can. Period.
Now, did you go to start going to any concerts, or were you just kind of still, you were just pretty much just whenever you could listen on the radio and then just knocking on doors the rest of your free time working out?
To some extent, yeah. Because you got to understand, Joe, man, this shit's serious. You got Tuesday and Mom, Paula Swinton, I love you, Paula Hawthorne, Walter Hawthorne. But when it comes down to it, Tuesday we had like a Bible study. Thursday we had Bible study at our house. It was. Then I had to go to practice right during those times. And then I had to keep my grades up because my dad sent me to these schools where, pretty much for the most part, I never went to a real public school. All the schools I went to were magnet schools.
Okay.
When I graduated out of sixth grade, there was 4 people that graduated out of my sixth grade class besides me that also went to Stanford. Just saying. It was my parents were always on grades. It's how we lived our life. My uncle, Dr. David Swinton, he graduated from Harvard, president of all black college, Benedict College for over 20-something years. I had another cousin that went to Stanford. I'm the second one to go to Stanford. So we were always about, like, academics was always serious in my family, but athletics were too. So when it came down to Varsity Blues, when that whole, it was it was a blessing. We got to talk about everything that led up to that because it was crazy what it led up to Varsity Blues.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to some. Maybe talk about the athleticism. Now, what age did you realize you were quote unquote athletic? I know that's a really broad term, but like when we were back in the day when we were playing little league or football or whatever, there was always 1 or 2 kids on every team you knew were gonna either go to the next level or we're good. You'd have one kid would pitch, a complete game every other game. You know that guy had a firearm. Same thing with football. You always had one big kid on the team faster than everybody else. At what point did you kind of realize that you were that kid on the team, if that even happened when you were younger?
A couple of different times. First time my name was in the paper, I was 11 years old. Actually, maybe 9 years old when I broke the long jump record for my age group. But I had 2 older brothers. You got to understand this, and I was the water boy. So for my older brothers, when they talk about Eliel Swinton, it's always the water boy Eliel Swinton. There was a lot of articles when I grew up. When I first started balling, like 10th grade, when I started breaking out, it would be, Eliel Swinton, Richie Swinton's little brother. I was the little brother. I would say my sophomore year against St. Genevieve's, I broke a touchdown run. And my dad happened at the time. My dad was always at my games, my loyal soldier. But that weekend, he had to go see my older brother play at Washington State. And I broke for a 70-yard touchdown run against, and I played in a small conference. Like, we were 8-man football before anything.
Oh, geez.
And I broke out. And that's when I realized once I broke, I'm like, holy crap, I can do this. And I broke out. But
Okay.
unlike most people, the saga of my story. Most people in 1991 never heard of a speed coach. You ever heard of a speed coach back
Not in
then?
91, not back then, no.
Well, my daddy got me a speed coach named Coach Dave Cannon. And Coach Dave taught me a technique that allowed me to go from 4 scholarship offers to 70. I became the number one, what was it? I became my senior year. I was the third best leading rusher in state history. And
Okay.
I was named to the all-time California team. They have another team now, but back then I was. Um, I was the California State Player of the Year for small school, and I was the number 5 rated tailback in the country because I had a speed coach that taught me these mechanics. So he
Okay.
took me to a whole when it came down to speed training, running. Yeah.
Okay. Well, going into high school, were you? I mean, back then we all played both positions. Like I played defensive tackle and offensive tackle. Did you
How tall?
when you were in high school? Were you doing DB and running back as well, or were you playing all kinds of different positions, or what was the deal?
I was a running back that they would put on defense, but when I played on defense, I would kill it too. So I was playing. Oh my gosh, they had me playing strong safety, all kind of different positions. But we had a team. You ever seen that movie? How about this one? You ever seen the movie Gridiron Gang?
Gridiron Gang. Not recent. Not
Remember,
enough to remember it. I'll tell you.
remember The Rock? The Rock has that team. It's a prison team, right?
Okay. Yeah.
It's a prison team. So that prison team played me in the championship at the end of that game. So they talk about that game. They go, yeah, we lost to a team at the end. Well, they lost to us.
Okay.
Yeah. And that game, let me tell you, we had to play these dudes, and Michael Black was on that team. Michael Black, Washington State, what's up? If you not going to see this, but still, great running back. Went to Washington State out of this prison school called what was it called? Oh God! But they were a bunch of ballers. But that was interesting because at the end of that game, 3 kids escaped from the game, and they were on the run. It was crazy. But go like there's so many stories, bro, about football. It's ridiculous.
All right, now what was that's funny, man. What was now going into your upper class year? Did you think you were gonna? You say you were recruited by 4, and you got the speed coach. When was your first recruiting contact? Like, who was the first school? It was like, oh yeah, Eliel, let's I want to see what you're about, visits, kind of stuff. I mean, when did you start getting letters? What year along were you?
Letters, Linfield. Remember, you gotta understand. I went to a school that was a small school, powerhouse school called Montclair Prep. Okay. We had guys like Toy, my brother, Tim Stallworth. We had great ballers coming out of school, but we had a roster of, I don't know, 19 kids.
Oh,
so it was the first time. Actually, it was the first school that started recruiting kids back in the 80s and giving young brothers scholarship offers to go to private school. It was unheard of. There's a book about it that Derek Sparks wrote. I forget the name of it right now. But my school has been known. It was known for years. So for me, it was about putting myself on the map. So I would say the first school that offered me, I think a school called Linfield College. Okay. But when it came down to my life, I committed to Notre Dame first.
Okay.
With Lou Holtz. I always wanted to go to Stanford because when I was 10 years old, my dad signed my older brother Rich to go be at the Stanford camp and the Cal camp at the same time. But of course, at the same day, same weekend, my dad made a mistake. So he's like, Eliel, I need you to go to Stanford camp. I'm 9 years old. I don't know anything about Stanford. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I go up there, do my thing. I'm the player of the camp for my age group. Here comes John Elway. He's throwing me the ball, right? After the camp. And he goes, and I loved Stanford. I loved the environment. It wasn't like being, in the San Fernando Valley or Los Angeles, tons of trees. So I'm throwing the ball with Elway, and he says to me, you know what? If you keep your grades up, you can actually come here one day. I'm like, yeah, right. Swear to you, listen to this. 30.
Oh, stand by, guys. Nope, stand by, guys. We have some technical difficulty. His phone might have died or something. We'll see. Bear with me, people. There he goes. All right, there we're back. Okay, when we last left you, you were saying, I swear, and then you told me a story about Elway, and then it cut out.
You're breaking up.
Oh, I said when we left before we cut out before, you were telling me about Elway, and there was a story about you going to, he said you could come to Stanford if you got your grades up, and then after that, it cut out.
Right. My grades were already up. I was just 9 years old. He was just telling me if you keep your grades up this whole time, you can actually come here. And I'm like, all right. So what happened was, first of all, I kept my grades up and I was able to get there. But 30 years later, my story with Elway, and it's so fucking bitching. If I can curse, can I curse?
Oh, yeah, you can say whatever the fuck you want, man.
All right, good. I want to feel free. So literally, I'm sitting with Elway. We're at the spot called, and I'm walking in there like, hey, sir. I said, I have a fucking story you're not going to believe. He goes, what? Because at this time, I'm the captain. I'm already the captain of Stanford football, right? I'm the man. I started this thing called C House. How about, we're talking about whose house? I started that shit at Stanford. C House. That's my legacy at Stanford. So I sit with Elway and I said, sir, tell you a story. So I told him, I said, look, you told me this when I was a little boy. I said, you probably not even remember this. I said, but sir, it put so much, impressed me so much that was my drive in my life. So I went, bought him a beer. This is for you. And we had a beer, and we sat down. And he probably still will remember because, it's Elway. He's got so many people that he helped out. But nevertheless, he was the guy that helped me out. And, yeah, that's why I'm here.
Well, as a Gen X Browns fan, I have disdain for Elway. But my favorite Elway story, is that he used to wear John Elway jerseys in public, figuring that nobody's going to think that John Elway is going to wear John Elway jerseys out in public. So he would just wear his game jerseys everywhere. It was great.
He wore his own game jersey?
Yeah, he would wear his own game jerseys out in public. That way he wouldn't be approached because people wouldn't think it.
Shit, that's like with that Aikman. Remember that Aikman commercial? Are you for Aikman? Nah. It's like, no, I forget that commercial. I'm sorry, I'm skipping me right now. But when Aikman's like on his own jock a little bit, he's like, yeah, I scored a touchdown. And it's like it repeats the song, like somebody repeats it. I don't know if you remember that damn commercial. Fuck me. Anyway.
All right, so going to high school, some of these questions are, with knowing your Jehovah's-ness, or prior Jehovah's-ness, whatever you call it, some of these questions seem kind of ridiculous about partying and all that. But, like, LA, when you went, see, that doesn't make no sense. I already kind of asked that, so that doesn't make no sense. Well, let me ask you this. Did you at all, the movie Varsity Blues was a party movie. Was there at any point in your high school career when you touched alcohol, cigarettes, weed, anything?
No, that wasn't my thing. There's articles. I didn't do anything. But what happened was when my fiance died in college, things got different. That's when I stopped being Jehovah's Witness. I stopped going to the Kingdom Hall. That's when I became a little bit of a punk, to be honest with you. But nevertheless, my attitude towards football and people, like in the football world, I can show you articles where it says, if you're on the field with me and you're lined up against me, I'm going to hit you as hard as I can. And this is my attitude back then. One of my friends, Hillary Hoover, just sent me an article and it said, Eliel, you said you were going to kill people. That was my mentality. I would try to hit you so hard that, I'm trying to hurt you. And I learned that from Lester Hayes. I learned that from Romanowski. I learned that from the badass motherfuckers that played football. And it's not like today's game where it's like, I'm going to be soft on you. I remember one time somebody tried to cut my legs. I was playing against Oregon. Dude tried to cut my legs because I'm a DB. Right? I told him, I said, don't do that fucking shit again. It's not gonna be good for you. So I'm ready next series, a couple series. He cuts my legs again, and you just see me just take an elbow and just drop it, boom, right in the middle of his spine. Just trying to fuck him up.
Now back to you touched on Romanowski. That's an interesting one. Is it true he used to eat or take shark cartilage because it helped his workout? I heard he had a regimen that was just like unheard of, man. Like he used to take like shark cartilage and all these random supplements and everything. Is that true?
Who?
Oh, I heard Bill Romanowski used to take a bunch of random supplements like shark cartilage and all these other things just to keep him playing.
You know what? I was up in that area, but I never met Romo. But I love when Romo spit in whatchamacallit's face. That's the kind of guy I was. What was it? Terrell Owens, who I like now, and I've trained with Terrell Owens. He worked out of my gym. I like him with all my heart. But when Romanowski spit in his face, that's the kind of guy I was known for playing football. I'm that type of guy. I'm gonna fuck you up if you're running around.
All right, so back to college recruiting. You already talked to Lou Holtz. Did Bill Walsh come up to you and be like, yo, Eliel, I'll let you meet Joe Montana if you come to Stanford? Or at what point did you pick Stanford? And was that you said that was kind of your dream school. Was that your dream school coming up ever since the Elway thing?
It was my dream school, but, at the end of the day, who thinks that Stanford's going to give you a scholarship? You know what I mean? It's the education that it takes to get there. So I didn't have, I got into Notre Dame and Coach Lou Holtz, I never forget. I don't want to even say this out loud, but he did curse my ass out as a grown-ass man when I was for not going to his school to play for Walsh. Because he had a situation, I don't know what the fuck it was, but literally, I get on the phone after I said I wasn't going to Notre Dame. I looked at my dad and I was like, what? I couldn't say the fuck because my dad was Jehovah's Witness. So I was like, what the? Because he cursed me out. No, but the Stanford was always my dream. But my recruiting trips were UCLA, Oregon, Stanford, Colorado at the time because they had a good med school. I wanted to be a doctor at the time, and then Oregon, Oregon. Those are my schools, and I decided on Notre Dame first. Hell of a guys, hell of a trip, great guys. And all my recruiting hosts from Donnie Edwards at UCLA, I had the best recruiting hosts on every trip because they tried to recruit me hard, and had a blast. But it was Stanford, and there's nothing like Stanford. There's nothing like graduating from Stanford. Nothing like the Stanford alumni. Nothing like what I'm able to do right now in society because of Stanford.
Now, when you were recruiting, was there any thought to what you wanted to play, offense versus defense? I mean, you were a star running back in high school, right? Did you? I mean, I read that when you went to Stanford, there was a Mitchell. Yes. I think it was his name was starting.
Let's bring that.
Yeah. So that. Oh, I said. So how did you end up How did you end up just committing to defense after? I mean, did you want to play running back in college, or did you just kind of when you saw the opportunity, you were like, I'm going to play DB?
Oh. I wanted to play running back in college for sure, and Bill Walsh guaranteed my dad that I would play running back. And this is what happened. We go up there, and believe it or not, look up the years. Stanford, 1993, we were the number one recruited class in the country, above Alabama, above everybody you think Stanford was. We had Scott Frost, quarterback, Nebraska. Coach Scott Frost.
He played for the Browns for a year. He played for the Browns for a year.
All these. What's that?
Oh, I said Scott Frost. For like one season.
Frosty.
He played for the Browns for the year 2000. He played for the Browns. He was only there for like 8 games, right? And they put him in an option formation for one play, and then that was it. They cut him, and he never played again. And they went to go back into coaching.
You know what? Coach Bill Walsh always said he was a better safety than So when Walsh tells you something, you kind of listen. So I went there, and I'm the number 5 rated tailback in the country, right? The number 1 rated tailback in the country. My man, my best friend, my brother, Mike Mitchell. Mike Mitchell came in, and I was maybe 5'11", 195, running a 4.45. Mike Mitchell, 6'2", 230, 220, running a 4.4. The only Mr. Phoenix, he was the number. Another guy named Randy Kinder. Randy, much respect. He was also out there. But Mike Mitchell was the baddest running back in the country, and he happened to go to Stanford with me. So when we got in there, everything was Mike Mitchell this, Mike Mitchell that, even as a freshman. So all of a sudden, like I'm sitting there like, what the hell? Call my dad up. I'm like, dude, they're just jocking, brother. And I came in a little bit, I ain't gonna lie, I came in a little bit lazy, out of shape. But nevertheless, Mike Mitchell became our number one tailback. But my freshman year, my true freshman year, so they put Mike, actually, this is what they did. They had all the freshmen try out. So we all had to play offense. This is just the freshmen. All the senior players and older players, they're not even in camp because this is the number one freshman class ever at Stanford. So they have all of us come in. So then they all of us play offense. And then they take Mike Mitchell and all the guys that they recruited for offense, and they had all of them play defense for a week. So they were just trying to see what they got. And then the DB coach, Coach Tom Homo, who's the athletic director at BYU right now. What's up, Homo? He comes to me and he goes, E, you know what? I think you can play corner for us. I'm like, man, look. Right? So they're jocking Mike Mitchell. And he goes, E, literally, I think you can get your ball. So I was like, all right. He goes, but before you do this, you got to talk to Bill Walsh. So now I went to go talk to Walsh. Right? He was playing tennis. I'm like, Coach, it looks like I might get an opportunity to play on the defensive side. He goes, you know what, Eliel? I think you'd be an NFL cornerback. If Bill Walsh tells you that, what do you do, sir?
I'm going to cornerback.
Oh, yeah. So, and he goes, but now I promise, this is the whole, I promised your dad you played running back. So we went upstairs, had a call my phone, start playing running back. And that year I became the freshman player of the year, runner-up Pac-10 player of the year as a DB. Sammy Knight beat me as a Pac-10 player of the year. I remember playing USC and I had 15 tackles my freshman year. I'm 19 years old. 3 tackles in a row one time. It was so bitching. It was like they try to do like a reverse, and I stuffed them right for like a 10-yard loss. The next play, they try to do something. Boom! It's just all me. Next, and now all of a sudden, the Keith Jackson is announcing the game because I don't know who this guy Swinton is, and it was fucking bitching. And unfortunately, the next year, my fiance dies in a car accident.
I read about that. I read the article about that, and it said, you had that, and then right after your sophomore year, Bill Walsh retires. He just, calls it in, and then they bring in Ty Willingham. Believe it or not, if you remember that back, well, you remember it, but for those out there, remember Ty Willingham, former Notre Dame coach, comes in and coaches you. Did he bring some kind of different motivation to you? Did he relate more to you? What was the deal with Willingham and like rejuvenating your career, getting past the tragedy, that kind of stuff?
Coach Tyrone Willingham is he's the biggest mentor, life coach I've ever had. The best friend. Like, Coach Willingham is the best coach like ever. What you guys understand is when we had Coach, don't get me wrong, Coach Walsh helped me start my first company. Coach Walsh was at the funeral when my fiance died. He went to Compton and he was at the funeral. She went to Stanford, don't get me wrong. Her name is Jessica Williams. Just talked to her sister Jennifer today. But she went to Stanford. But she was from the Carson, Compton area, where I'm from the San Fernando Valley. All right, she light-skinned black. But all of a sudden, you're at the funeral, and Walsh comes in, and you're sitting there, and you feel a hand because your mom can't go into the church because she's a Jehovah's Witness, right? And Coach Walsh grabs your side, and you turn around, like, wow, you're here. It was good times. But don't get me wrong, Coach Willingham, like me and him, we can talk. We talk now about our lives and our lives together. Like when he first came in, and I'll never forget this. He already announces himself. He comes in the room. Ben, my name is Coach Tyrone Willingham. I'm your new coach. Now, we didn't know who this dude was. But he came off like, God damn, who are you, baby Jesus? And literally, he was the best thing that happened to us. We had 2 losing seasons with Coach Bill Walsh. Nothing against him. Is he treat us like NFL players? And you can't treat collegiate players like NFL players. They need discipline. They need discipline. And we didn't have discipline. Coach Willingham came, he brought the discipline. I, at the time, remember my fiance died. I was rocking around Stanford with my necklace on with a big marijuana leaf. And going
shout,
to
out
football
to, shout out to the weed.
There you go. And but this literally, think about it, Stanford. I would walk around campus going to like this is before, like not like this because that's just too ghetto for me. I would have a bandana on like that, like a little Tupac style, but not like Tupac, a little different. So then all of a sudden Willingham came in, and I never forget this story. So I'm walking in. I'm gonna tell the truth. I never told the truth about this one. Oh God, let's do this. So I'm walking in the football office, and I just smoked some weed, and I'm fucking high. And I'm just trying to get my mail out of my fucking mailbox. So I'm walking in. Remember, this is a new black coach. Black coaches at Stanford, they unheard of. So I'm still trying to test him a little bit, but not really, because he came off, I don't know, real aggro, right? Real strong. Like a strong black, almost like a strong black dad would, like a dad.
All right.
And to this day, he's like my dad. Straight up. But I walk up, and all of a sudden, remember, I'm stoned. He comes out of nowhere, out of a room. I'm like, oh, shit. Hey, what's up, coach? Eliel, let me ask you a question. I'm like, all right, what's up? What is the most important thing in life? I don't know, coach. Love? Wrong. Damn. It's time. You can never have time back. You can always have love back. Think about it. Boom, disappears. Like this leaves me. I'm sitting in the fucking hallway like this. Ninja, what the fuck just happened? Like, what the hell just, you know what I mean by ninja? What the hell just happened? Because literally, he popped in, he said those things. And then he really got me thinking, it's time, like, life is about time and how you spend your time. Let's talk about Paul Walker, Ron Lester. Me and Ron have kicked it many times after Varsity Blues. I can never have that time back. Paul was cool. But Paul and I used to play football. He told me when we were on our the first day, he calls me up after we meet, and he goes, on my phone in the hotel, the Red Lion or whatever it was, hey, are you Eliel Swinton? I'm like, dude, yes, I've been Eliel Swinton for many years. Remember, I'm already done playing like ball. He goes, dude, I played against you in high school. I'm like, what? Yeah, Paul Walker was a cornerback at a school called Village Christian when I was at Montclair Prep in high school, and we played against each other.
Oh, wow. That's random as hell. That's cool.
Crazy.
That's awesome. All right, so you talked about this. Go ahead.
What's that?
Oh, I just said go ahead. I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying, come at me. What else you got? Because
all right,
the
so
Paul Walker story to me.
Oh, so the Whose House, See House stuff. That I did read that was you. For those who don't know what we're talking about, they start out real slow. They go Whose House, and then people whisper See House, Whose House. Yeah, does it see the cardinal? What describe the story of that?
The story comes from this. Okay, it came from my high school. We were the prep. So Whose House, P House. That's how it started. And the prep was how we recognized, this is before everybody does Whose House now. This is like when it first started. So this is 1990. We were doing this. And then from there, I took it up to Stanford. Whose House, See House, right? And I rocked that shit strong. We used to do that shit at parties, clubs. Like, that was our thing. We had it was like we had a whole little thing for it because at Stanford, when you play against USC, UCLA, you're not going to get respect. They're going to think you're a bunch of nerds. So it's like, how do you flip that? How do you make it seem like you're some badasses, right? So we started flipping it. We started having our own little chance. And then my little homie, Damon Dunn, by the time, I was done, because I was dealing with so much mental stress, Damon took it to another level. And then after that, all these kids have taken it to next level. So now there's like a C House chant. There's a C House award. There's like at Stanford. I saw literally in the Stanford hotel, C House pillows. I'm like, God damn it. I should have got that shit trademarked. Damn, they're just using my shit, but it's okay. That's my legacy. And that's what I'm known for.
I read that you guys got tattoos. Did you get a tattoo of that? Here we go.
God, let me see if I can get it up. That's what she said. Hold on a second.
Zing.
Pull it up. Give me a second.
All right, for sure, man.
Pull it out. No one sees it. Hold on.
Oh, hell yeah. See House representing.
I'm trying to get the camera right. Hold on.
There it is.
CEOs.
Nice.
Then my last name's Swin and the Stanford S.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, man.
I got no tattoos.
This is before. Remember, this is 1990, 93. No one had tattoos even showing out their jersey at the time. But I did. Trust me. I looked up all the legacy, and I'm like, guys, no one even rocking this shit. Kind of like when it came to Varsity Blues. So I can't wait to start talking about that shit, because there's so many stories. And just even the fact that when we started filming, you go.
Okay, I got two more questions about Stanford, and we'll get into Varsity Blues. All right, so was strong safety eventually the position you settled on and liked to play? And I read that you preferred safety to corner. That's true? What's the deal there?
I say, when you're at cornerback, you're out there on the island. When you're at safety, you're in the mix. I remember my best game we played against Wisconsin this one time. And that's when he played against Ron Dane. Ron Dane's breakout. Remember Ron Dane?
Oh, I remember Ron Dane, Wisconsin, Heisman Trophy winner, 2000.
Remember him?
Yeah, oh yeah. Year 2000, he won the Heisman.
What's that?
He was on the first newspaper of the new millennium, if you remember. I don't know, a lot of people don't remember this, but the first USA Today of the new millennium had Ron Dane on the cover.
You're breaking up.
Oh, can you still hear me, Eliel?
You're breaking up.
I can hear you. Can you still hear me? You sound good. You sound good. Can you still hear me?
I hear you now.
All right, cool.
So Ron Dane's freshman year when he had his breakout, I was playing strong safety, and that's what I loved. Because like I said, when you're out there in corner, you're either the man or you're the fucking goat. It's either each play, you're just doing some bullshit, and it's a run. And it's like, dude, I'm way the fuck over here. I'm not going to make an impact. I like to make an impact. So they moved me to strong, and sometimes I would shift up to linebacker. And I'm only like, I got the 215, but I was like a 215, like little linebacker. But I had a badass fucking attitude. Like, literally, I would fuck you up, and you would hear about it. Between me and my boy John Haskins and my boy Draft. So anyway, Wisconsin, play them. I have 17 tackles that game. We lose. But that's the most tackles I had in any game. And strong safety was my shit. Because I like action. I don't like being, I like to hit. I'm a hitter. That's what I do.
All right. And I got
running around. Like, in today's time, you can be just running around. You can be running.
Still there?
Come at me?
I can still hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So I was saying, like today's times where you see like a lineman running around, minding their own business, I would fuck them up just because they were just running around. Just put them on their ass. Why not?
All right, and I have what I think. I have what I think is your. I don't know if it's your last college play, but it's one of your last college plays. I did some research, okay, and this is a bowl game against Michigan State. Believe it or not, was coached by Nick Saban himself. So watch this play, and then we'll talk about it.
Very solid game for him.
What's that?
Over the middle, Cedric Irvin. Unable to make the catch. You'd be a tough coach to play for. Solid. How about grade on that one, Gus? 22 of 28, 226 yards. Three-man sandwich there by the hard-playing Stanford defense.
All right, so you're standing over the guy just hitting. That describes your hit perfectly, right? When you guys were just walloping Michigan State there. Describe how fun that was. Was that your last game?
It was one of my last games besides this game in Japan, which was crazy, where I suplexed this little kid. It was fucked up. But I actually suplexed. But that was one of my one of my last games. We beat Nick Saban in the Sun Bowl, 38-0. And it really meant a lot to me because that was Coach Willingham's alma mater.
Okay.
So it meant a lot to us. The year before that, we played the Liberty Bowl. The defense didn't get scored on, but we partied too much that time. That was the first game we went to, the first bowl game. And we hung out and partied too much. Michigan State, I was the captain of the team. I'm like, guys, no, we're not partying as we did last time. We're going to fucking focus. And we just blew the shit out of them. And in that game, which you did not see, but go watch that game, there's a play where my boy Josh Madsen, the free safety, intercepts the ball. And you know Stanford doesn't do no trickery, right? He intercepts the ball. He's running. He's about to get tackled. And he pitches the ball to my boy Leroy Pruitt. And he scores a 70-yard touchdown on interception. And that's the point. That's where we left Stanford, where we were doing that kind of shit. And then after that, man, you've seen these guys, they took it to another level until the last couple of years after our coaches left.
All right, so but before you heard about Varsity Blues, I read that you tried out for the Chiefs or got on the practice squad? What was the deal with the NFL?
So my senior year, I got injured. I got a hip injury called a sportsman's hernia. So basically, every time I would try to shoot my hip on a tackle, it would hurt to the point where I wouldn't even practice. When you're talking about practice? Right, that was me. I didn't practice. I rode bikes during the week, and then I would do the walkthroughs. I would take a pill called Cataflam, and then halfway through the first half, you see me limping. Then all of a sudden, you see me laying hat, and that's what happened. I was still all Pac-10 honorable mention, but I played I'll get taken out because I was injured. But so I went to Kansas City. I ran a 4.45 40 at pro day. Bench press 226, was it 26 times? I think it was. I'm getting old. My vert was 41. And then I broke the NFL broad jump record. I jumped a 10-11. Had the record for 2 weeks until some other taller brother beat me and shit. But so when I went to Kansas City, I was injured. Got off the airplane limping, literally. And then talked to my dad every day. And the coolest thing was, check this out, Marcus Allen was there.
Oh, nice.
And this is before Derek Brooks died. And it was so cool to have that experience with guys. You know, I didn't tackle Marcus, but he tried to make a juke on me, and I knew he was going to do a spin move. And I was able to wrap up the vet. But the cool thing, man, is I always wanted to be Marcus. I was even number 32 when I was 9 years old to be Marcus Allen. So just imagine you're on the same field with the guy. And even though you didn't tackle him, you wrapped him up. Every play I did at KC was perfect. But I was injured. So Coach Steinheimer, I got the let go papers after. I always say I had a cup of coffee with the online. It says, "Oh, he's a running back." That's bullshit. I had a cup of coffee with the Kansas City Chiefs. It was the tastiest cup of coffee I ever had. But when Coach let me go, I told him straight up. We went to his office, Coach Steinheimer. I said, "Coach, thank you for this opportunity." I said, when I was a little kid, I played for the Chatsworth Chiefs. I wanted to be Marcus Allen, and I think it's kind of appropriate that I end with the Kansas City Chiefs. I said, "Sir, I'm going to go back to Los Angeles. I have a degree from Stanford, communication, emphasis in film production."
Oh, nice.
I said, "I'm going to be a producer one day, and one day you will hear." And that's how it went down. I shook his hand. He shook my hand. I closed the door, walked out, took 3 steps, and just started crying my ass off because I realized it was over. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's well. After that, how did you You were like 24-ish when Varsity Blues came out, so you're probably 23 then. How did you hear about this movie? How did this come into your life?
So once again, like I just said, I went back to LA to become a producer. My brother was working for a show called NYPD Blue, but he also used to work for Brian Robbins and Mike Tolan, the director and the producer of Varsity Blues, Tolan Robbins production. He was their PA. So he got me hooked up with them. And then Mike Tolan, you know that name, he went to Stanford. Okay. Brian Robbins used to coach at my high school, Montclair Prep, when he was between, that show, what was that show he was on? Head of the Class?
Mm-hmm.
So he was coaching Montclair. So when I was as a PA working for that show, Cousin Skeeter, remember Cousin Skeeter? With like Megan Good, and like there was a show called Cousin Skeeter, like a little puppet on Nickelodeon. So I was the production assistant for that. So I'm dropping off the script that I need to drop for the other show, Arliss was the other show they had. So I'm dropping off a script at the office, and Brian goes, "Hey man, why don't you read for this part in this movie? Didn't you play football?" I'm like, "Motherfucker, you know I play football." And I talked to him like that because he was cool like that. I'm like, "Man, shut up. I ain't gonna do that shit." He goes, "E, why don't you read for it?" I'm like, "Because I have to do more drops. Remember, I'm a PA. I gotta get the fuck out of here." He goes, "It's my company." I'm like, "All right." He goes, "Why don't you read for it?" So I read for it. He goes, "Dude, that was good." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up." He goes, "No, it was." He goes, "I might call you back in." He goes, "If I paid you in 2 weeks, mind you, if I paid you time, he goes, if I paid you, hit me up." So he pays me back. 2 weeks later, he goes, "The producers for MTV and everybody, they're here. We want you to come in and read for the part." I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here again." He goes, "Come on in." So I go into the office, and a guy named Mason Gordon, who started Slam Ball. Remember the show Slam Ball? Remember Slam Ball?
Yeah, I remember that.
Trampolines and shit.
Yeah.
So Mason started Slam Ball. You understand? Everybody was like, this is when, in the office, this is where Nick Cannon is, he's like, 13 running around the office. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting there like, "Nick, shut the fuck up," right? Because he's like a little kid. And remember, I'm a big football player. And this is where like Keenan from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
They're all part of Mike Goldman's. So everybody's here. So Mason is like, all right. So Mason reads with me. And next thing you know, everybody's like, "Oh my God, that was great." I'm like, "Shut up." I'm still in the shut up. Like, I'm not an actor. Day later, "You got the part." I'm like, "What?" Now I'm trying to be a production assistant. I'm trying to be a producer. And then Brian Robbins, actually, his kid went to my daughter's school, Sierra Canyon. And then later on, Brian always says, "I ruined his life. I got him involved in acting." I'm like, "Man, that was so much fun." So it was a blast, but I was not an actor. I was watching Dawson's Creek at the time, like religiously. Pacey and them. Are you kidding? All of a sudden, I'm with James. Are you kidding? So the first day, we all fly out there, and I don't give a rat's ass. You know me, I don't give a rat's ass about shit. So we fly out there, and it's the first night, and we all get together at this hotel. And James, me, Scott, everybody, and Ron, we all go to IHOP. You know what it's like to walk into IHOP with Vonderbeek? Forget about it. You have no idea just who that guy was. And then once you get to meet him, it's like, this dude is so down to earth. He's so down to earth. He's not what you think like somebody could be. So that's how we all met. And it was a great experience. It's not like I always tell people, like, you're going to be best friends with people just working on a job, but you can't keep relationships and be in relationships with people. But that whole experience, just in the beginning even, was unbelievable.
All right, I got some questions about the movie, if you don't mind. All right. So at the beginning of the movie, when Billy Bob's riding his truck down, rest in peace. Those who don't know, Brian Gilbert was his name, right? He was Billy Bob. He's riding the pickup truck, and he has bacon in the front seat. And for some reason, you're in the bed and you're not in the front seat. And then bacon eventually gets in the back bed. But why wouldn't Billy Bob just roll you around with the front seat if he's picking you up first? I mean, and how was it filming with this pig?
Okay, that was two questions. Why wouldn't Billy Bob pick me up? Because I'm black. I'm fucking with you. Because, I don't know. They made it like that, I guess, because I'm like this. Where'd you pick me up from? Was I in the hood? Was I like, where's Wendell coming from? You know, where's Wendell's family from? But we don't know where Tweeter's family's from either. Tweeter's family's from might be a whole bunch of fucking tweakers. I don't know. But literally the pig story. You ready for this? That pig jumped out of the fucking truck. It was nothing nice. So we're driving one time. We're in this truck, and it's me, Paul, and Scott. We're all in the back of the truck, and we're filming, and we're trying to tell the producer, like, man, this pig acting fucking funny. He's acting weird. All right, you guys just keep going. We're driving. Next thing you know, dude, swear to God, pig just says, fuck it. Boop. We're driving maybe 30 miles per hour. He just says, and jumps out the fucking truck. And we're like, what the fuck? Cut. Bacon just jumped out the truck. Well, he hit the ground, rolled a couple times. Luckily, and then he took off. I was none of those animal supporters on this channel. But he takes off. He goes to this little barbed wire fence, and now us guys, we're like, fuck. So we jump like out of the truck, and the Wrangler got him. But yeah, that was not a good bacon story. Not a good bacon story at all.
That's great, man.
It was the same bacon.
That's great. All right, I noticed. All right, I noticed quite a bit of cinematic flips in the movie. When I'm talking about, like, you would run up and get hit and then flip into the end zone, or you'd be blocking and then the guy you blocking would be flipped. Was that like intentional, or did, you know, what was the deal with all the random flipping in the football action in the movie?
Let me tell you something. You can ask your boy Mark. Mark Ellis was the first guy to choreograph these movies, from Waterboy to everything, right? But he never choreographed one with somebody like me. So what happened was we had two-a-days. Remember two-a-days like in high school football?
I hated two-a-days.
We had two-a-days on Varsity Blues. That means 2 practices a day where we just fucking go get in our stretch, warm up, go through tackling circuits. This is for 2 weeks, right? And this is where I remember James, like, because at the end, everybody's showering together, right? And James is like, am I supposed to shower with these dudes? I'm like, dude, if you don't shower with these guys, you're trying to bond, you know? If we're trying to do this shit real, it's not. So James would go in there and shower. And the guys, because they were all ex-football players from the area, and I never forget, at least 1 or 2 times, they would start in the shower, all of them. I don't want to wait. And they would start singing it. Till this life, till like the theme song from
Dawson's Creek. Dawson's Creek, yeah.
You know, dude, the whole team. And James is sitting there with everybody, and we're all butt naked, and it was fucking real. It was real. But then I had to tell the boy, after one practice, I said, look, bring it up. I said, look, guys, listen up. I said, there's no fucking way I'm going to make a football movie and go down as some punk-ass fucking shit. So when it's time, and because we're already rehearsing these fucking scenes, and where we're supposed to land, we're supposed to get hit, this and that, we're rehearsing all the fucking scenes. I'm like, guys, we have to go full bore. That means if you fuck me up, if I get fucked up, who gives a fuck? If you get fucked up, who gives a fuck? They got stunt doubles for them. Don't worry about them. Every scene you see in that motherfucker is fucking real. And that's where I look at other scenes in movies. I'm like, nope, they're not selling out. These dudes, I'm talking about 3 dudes blew out their shoulders. Dudes were getting knocked out on set. That's why what you see is what you see. It's different. And I watch these movies. I'm like, dude, that dude's not selling out. When I got fucked up, when I jumped over that pile, I really jumped. When I got hit, boom, I got fucked up. That shit hurt. But it's real.
All right, so is this movie basically all adults?
That's where I come from.
It's all like adults living through their kids. No, I mean the adults were. I noticed the adults were at the practices. Like my parents never come to football practice. I mean, they were challenging their kids to contests at cookouts. Was this like an inadvertent diatribe on like overbearing parents in sports? Did they intentionally do that, or was that kind of accidental? What do you think?
You're breaking up. You're breaking up.
Oh, I apologize. I said in the movie there was parents at like practices. You know, the parents were challenging each other to contest at cookouts and stuff like that. Was this movie inadvertently a diatribe on like helicopter parents and sporting? You know, like some of these parents are just like way overbearing and trying to live through their kids. Is this a commentary on that?
Let me ask you a question, because I know what Varsity Blues is about, and I look at it from a football perspective, and I looked at how many things that were gained from that movie. So, are you saying were they tapping into that? They were so smart. They were tapping into more than anything. Look, this is what they tapped into. Ready? First, helicopter parents, that's one. Concussions, and what's going on with the kids with concussions today? They tapped into that, number two. Black and white differences with the coach, number three. A coach being too over the top, number four. And then they brought in how Chip Kelly stole the offense with Varsity Blues. Think about it. NFL, what do they have now? 4 receivers on one side, one on the other. Remember Varsity Blues? Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's common nowadays. Varsity Blues set up so much. This is what I think to myself. I'm like, dude, why was it so uncommon to see 4 receivers on one side? And now, today's time, well, who cares?
You don't even use a fullback now. I haven't seen a fullback. There's like 2 or 3 in the NFL. It's got Juszczyk and a couple other guys. That's it. The days of Ron Conrad or your boy, what was his name? Zach. I can't remember the guy's name at Stanford. There, he was a beast. But Rob Conrad was his name.
Zach Ertz?
Yeah. Them days are over. Fullbacks, man. They're just they're not having it no more. So yeah, it's interesting. I always remember I always hearken that. If you remember the run and shoot offense way back when, like Jerry Glanville back in the 80s, 90s. Uh-oh.
Sorry, I'm here. It's my dad's area.
Okay.
That was my pop's call.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can still hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Your face froze, but I can still hear you.
You got me.
I got you. I can hear you. Yes. I can hear you.
Okay. So you're talking about the run and shoot offense?
Mm-hmm.
So the run and shoot offense, I remember the run and shoot very well. We ran it. Yeah. I got to plug my phone in, I think. Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here. We're still here.
Okay. So the run and shoot offense. Okay. So my dad used to run the run and shoot when I grew up. So yeah, I remember the run and shoot. But then after that, remember, it's the West Coast offense. That's Bill Walsh's offense. Seen that too. And then all of a sudden, there was another offense.
Yeah, now all of them are doing it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Now everybody's doing it. Look at the 49ers. Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Okay. Now, I noticed when you recovered the fumble, when Lance got taken out, all right, if you remember in the movie, when Billy Bob was all, and he fell over, you recovered the fumble, and you were also the first person to put him on the stretcher, too. I thought that was very stoic in the movie. Did you realize that?
Yes. And that was just, I don't know. That was just part of what the movie was. But the main thing, like after that scene that I added to the scene was when I slapped him. And I said, hey, we got a game to get to. Because when football, you don't worry about somebody getting hurt. You got to go to the next play. We'll worry about him later on. That's the little add-ons that people do. Besides all my running back scenes, they let me choreograph myself. Thank you. Yeah, but that was the scene where you want to have some real. The only part, to be honest with you, that wasn't real is when they started breakdancing. I hated that fucking shit.
Well, that was the other team, so that was good. At least it wasn't the Coyotes.
Hear what I said? I hate that fucking shit. Everything else was real. You know, there ain't no motherfuckers breakdancing, bitch. What the fuck you doing?
Now,
football. That was Hollywood trying to be cute.
All right.
That was Hollywood. Let's make them breakdance. All right, Brian.
All right. So you were 24, 25. Ron Lester was 29. Paul Walker was 26. Vanderbeek was 22, etc. All these people well into their 20s playing a high school football movie. Is this most high school football movies, or why did they do it particularly with this movie?
You know what? From what I heard, I don't know. The one before us was that I think the one with what was his name? The singer. We just did the NFL Super Bowl. Did the Super Bowl. What's his name? He dances all the time. I think he was in another movie right before us. It was a high school movie. What's his name? You know what I'm talking. He just did the Super Bowl this year.
Damn it! I'm drawing a blank.
You know. Shit.
Halftime show, Super Bowl.
But I think he was in the other like.
Usher was a name. Yeah. Usher. People are saying Usher was the Super Bowl. That's who it was. Usher wasn't the Super Bowl.
But he was in like Usher in another movie, like a teenage movie, like right beforehand, I think. Okay. Right. And they tried football in it. And even my movie, which I love, Dazed and Confused. But there's the Waterboy has this shit, but and the Program, one of my favorite football movies, actually, just different, man, just different. And then I saw, what's that one with Denzel?
Oh, remember the Titans? Yeah.
I'm like, okay. All right. I remember those Titans. Let's dance. Let's do our thing. Let's dance for the game. Come on. I ain't never seen no football team do that shit in my goddamn life.
All right. So in the movie, you get into Grambling because of your mom's recruiting. Now, did they tell you Grambling, or did you get to pick the school? And would you have picked Stanford if they would have let you?
First of all, like I told them, I was running. There was a scene, right? This is the scene when I'm breaking out. And the first time, you know that scene when you see me like high step and shit, and they tackle me, and I'm like doing that almost like the B skip. Before that scene, we did the same scene. I was supposed to land a certain spot, but I was running so fast that no one could catch me. Right? So then I'm like, no one could catch you. I'm like, all right. I said, this is why Wendell's going to Grambling. That's why he's not going to Stanford. He ain't got fucking elite speed. You want me to slow this shit down? I got you. Because he ain't me. You're right. Let me act. So let me slow it down and let me try to. And that high step thing, that just happened. Just happened to be. They didn't say high step. I just know that there was an X on the ground and they told me to land on it.
All right. So how many takes did you do in the look over your left shoulder and there's some titties in your face? How many
13.
takes? Oh, yes. Now, did you go ahead?
Ryan Robbins, I'm not feeling it. Can we go again? And literally, dude, he looked at me and winked and said, we'll go again. And then later on, those girls were actually dancers. We were in, what's it called? The Yellow Rose or some rose or the airstrip. We were in a real strip club. That's shit you see us. That's a real fucking strip club. Now, craziest thing is they let the dancers dance in between cuts. So they were like moving lights and shit. The dancers would dance, and then the other guys, the grips and shit, would go on the stage and they would give dollars. It was fucking. I'm like, this isn't a set. What the fuck am I on here? Anybody got a couple bucks?
That's the kind of movie I want to be on. My goodness.
It's crazy. Crazy. But it was so cool. Like I could tell people, like I would. People ask me all the time, "Do you want to act again?" I said no, but they called me about being Wendell for Varsity Blues 2. I said I'll do that. Fuck the acting thing, man.
All right, now I got a funny clip. I'm gonna set it up and then I'm gonna tell you about it. Now,
my phone's running out of juice. I gotta go get a fucking wire real quick.
Okay.
Can you give me 2 seconds?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, 2 seconds.
All right. You are listening to the Square Table Degenerates on YouTube. Smoke weed every day.
Okay, sorry about that.
Oh, no problem at all, sir. No problem at all.
All right, let me just plug this shit in. All right.
All right, perfect.
All right, I'm back.
All right, cool. All right, so and another thing too.
Hold on.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Give me 1 second. All right, good. Now it's charging. All right. Go for it.
And something I just thought of too. You guys had Miss Davis at the titty bar there, right? And nowadays you got all these teachers on OnlyFans, bro. It's kind of a precursor to that, no? Isn't that wild?
What's that? Say it again. Bring it up.
I said, isn't the Miss Davis being a stripper and the students seeing about it, isn't that kind of a precursor to now how we got all these teachers on OnlyFans and the students finding out about it and all that shit?
Never thought about that shit. That's another one we tapped into. I'm just messing with you. Yeah, Miss Davis, Tori, whatever her name was. Yeah. Yeah, it might have been a precursor. Yes. Because I guess that's what students are doing nowadays. Yeah. No comment about that. Yeah, you know what? Wacky ass scenes, great scenes. Nipples this big.
Right, there's some thick fake titties, right? What's up with that?
Great scene.
All right, now there's this scene. I fast. Go ahead.
All right, what were you gonna say? You fast forwarded.
I didn't hear the last word. I didn't hear the last word you said. I'm sorry.
Nah, it's just I don't know. I'll talk about some things, but Jesus, God, Lordy, she was cool as heck. But there's some stories that I remember when. Oh God, I'll give you one. I had never told nobody this story. Oh shit. So we're sorry. All right, so we're on our guys. Remember, so we had our own van. All right, transpo. So it was the boys' transpo van, and the girls had their transpo van, right? So anything we did, if you were working that day, you go in the boys' transpo van. We had this cool ass Wrangler. Fucking had Sammy, I think his name was. Rest his soul. He knows what I'm talking about. You were awesome. But anyway, so one time we're coming back, right? And here on the mic, and we're all in the fuck. All of us guys, we're in the thing, and we all hear it. Hey, so we can't find Tony's car. Well, what kind of car is it? She said it's a green or a gray Sonata, right? We were looking for hours. All of a sudden, you hear somebody come in and they go, "No, it's not. She's not. She's driving a red Sentra." That's all I got to say.
All right, so
that was funny.
All right, so I got to now the one scene where you're getting your knee shot up, okay, and you're standing in there, and Coach Kilmer's there. I want to play this. I want to play it on fast speed because I want you to notice something on this.
You're breaking up a little bit. Come back.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said I'm going to set up this scene and I'm going to play it, and I want to show you something that you might have noticed, but I just made me laugh when I saw this. All right, so when you were in there getting your knee shot up and you were trying to go back into the game, all right, that's the scene. And watch where Coach Kilmer is standing, and at the end of the scene, watch where you are. So watch this clip real quick.
All right, get your helmets on. Take the thing. Let's go. Let's go now. Let's go. We're going back to the field without you.
Like right there, you're right there, and right there at the thing. In like 28 seconds earlier, you were in the waiting room. And so how did you make it when you had your knee hurt so fast, 28 seconds over? Did they think about that in the script, or what was the deal with that?
Man, you discussed I never seen before. I never saw that was caught because I would have caught it myself. I love finding fault in shit. Remember, I told you I'm a film major. So if I would have saw that shit, I would have clowned my daughters and told them that many a times. Thank you for that. There's no way I could have got up that fast.
No way.
I think it's one of those. You know what? Sometimes I look at movies and all of a sudden everybody gets a line. It's like, oh, da 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 da, and yeah, Jameson has to say something, and so does John. And so it's like one of those maybe. Let's put the brother in the room. We got to put the brother in the room. I don't know. It looks like that. It's like ain't no way a brother can move that quick with some crutches on. You just about to shoot him a goddamn thing. I just got put out the game. Yeah, that's impossible. Good job.
All right, so in your opinion, in your opinion, why did they in the movie? They stopped at the districts. Like, you guys beat the team, and that was it. Why don't you think they didn't show them like going to states? And what do you think would have happened with you and Coach Harbor at the helm? Do you think they would have brought somebody else in, like in the sequel? What was the deal there?
How about this one? Let's talk about some shit that ain't real. Ready? About Varsity Blues. When the fuck does your head coach leave and all of a sudden the kids run the program? Where's the assistant coach? Where's the defensive coordinator? Where's the offensive coordinator? Where's somebody else to run it? Knowing the head coach has fucking lost his mind, right? You just don't have no kids run the fucking program. That's Hollywood. All right, now I'm gonna run. Wait a second. Think about it. Where did the assistant coach go? Where did happen this? Where did the offensive line? I never saw the O-line coach or the defensive coordinator. Where's that motherfucker? Because he should be. He's not gonna just not be around all of us. Oh, no, go, kids. You can do it on your own. Oh, hey, go get. No, fuck that shit. But that's Hollywood. But everybody loves it. But that's the stuff we can always pull out. Besides what you just said, how the fuck did I never thought about that. How did my character get that close to Voight when I'm supposed to be in the room? I'm gonna tell my daughters that today.
All right.
My daughters Zoe and Alora and my wife Crystal are gonna crack up.
All right. Describe your life after the movie. Was there any change? I mean, you knew a lot of these people through school and all that, but like, were you recognized out in public a little bit more? Was there any kind of boost in your life after the movie?
The thing is, it's just extra boost. You know, I was already a football player, known, for being a football player. You know, I'm known for being a football. I remember, at Stanford, you go places, you're in Circuit City trying to buy a CD, and somebody walks up to you. You know what I mean? I'm talking old school shit. This shit, I was the captain of the football team, signing autographs all the time. I remember one time it was kind of weird. Kid asked me after my football game, "Can I have your mouthpiece?" I'm like, "God damn, can I have your socks?" I've heard all kinds of shit that kids want me to sign for them. So I used to come out of my locker room with like extra gloves signed already, right? And just, I'm not even that guy. I'm not even fucking, that guy. But if the kids want something, you give it to them. So after the movie, yes, it was good, because people say this and that. And then even now, right? I'm a coach. Everybody knows me as Coach E, right? One of my kids, Nathan Zimmerman, just called me up today. And he's Calabasas baseball player, love the kids playing college ball. He goes, "Coach E, my coach, I just told him at your Varsity Blues," and he goes, "He lost his fucking mind." He goes, "I haven't even seen you in Varsity Blues." I'm like, "Nate, I told you, people like that shit." And he goes, "But we never talk about it." I'm like, who gives a fuck about it? I don't need to talk to you about it. I need to talk about getting you faster. I need to talk about getting you to college. So what I've done is I've used Varsity Blues to propel who I am now, which is Coach E, mentor trainer.
Okay.
Like phenomenon. Like you can't. I've done things that people's. I'm a Nike. I used to be a Nike coach, Nike trainer. I'm a speed coach, a speed and agility coach. I coached at that school, Sierra Canyon. You hear that school, Sierra Canyon, where like LeBron's kids.
Yeah, I was gonna say Bronny James went there.
Yeah. So I'm the head speed coach there for 12 years. So when the kids mess with me, I just use it for motivation to get to their heads of what I want to get them to. It's like, guys, you think that you're on a certain, you think you're the shit. It's like, man, I already done that in football. But they even gave me the glory of making the #1 movie in the country at one point. Guys, so just listen to me. I have something to say. You know what the hits do? They listen. And you know what? It works.
Now,
So
after this movie, I didn't. I looked on your IMDb, and you didn't really have any more roles after that. Did you go back into film production? What was your post like? Besides the coaching stuff, we'll get into that in a second. But what was your post movie life like?
That's been great. It's been awesome. So what happened was, for the first year, I tried to go out for the roles, and I remember literally going to the third role for 3 different movies. One was U571, where they hired an older black guy. Another one was Requiem for a Dream.
Okay.
Well, I'm sitting there like I'm a big. I know you're trying to put me in a movie because I'm coming off of this one, but I don't look like a crackhead. That's a Marlon Wayans look. You know what I mean? Not me. I'm yoked. And the other one was Road Trip. Now Road Trip was the best one because I went to Road Trip, third one, right? And I'm sitting there with Stifler. What's his name in real life?
Sean William Scott, I believe.
So, but I know him as Stifler, right? So I'm in there. I'm like, oh shit, it's fucking Stifler, right? So and he's like, oh, you're the brother, I'm like, all right, what's up? And then all of a sudden there's an Asian dude next to us, and I was like, what part are you guys reading for? We were all reading for the same part. And so after that, and then I found out, even before that, there was a black actor where I used to work for a show called C16. What's his name? Older black actor. And he kept telling me that. I said, what about acting for us? And he's like, you know what? It's not good for black actors. He said straight up, he goes, you don't want to get in this shit. Keep doing it on your production level. Because I was a PA, and he goes, and he was a good, James, God damn it, great brother. James mixed something. But anyway, he said, just keep going to that level. And then I was watching my boy Morris Chestnut, because he's on C16 too. And I'm like, he ain't getting it. Morris, there ain't that many roles. And this is before UPN, right. Underpaid network, right? So I was like this, fuck this shit. I got a Stanford education. I don't need to deal with you motherfuckers. I'm out of here. I'm gonna use my education. So I started getting back into my business. I think the first job I had of that was a $45,000 a year job, making the clothes for Abercrombie and Fitch out of my homegirl's dad warehouse from Calabasas. So I was doing well there, and then I started working for Fox Sports. I said, let me do the fuck around there. ESPN hired me as a ESPN sideline reporter one time because my buddy's dad is Howard Katz, president of ESPN. So, after a week of thinking about, I want to be an ESPN psych. Next thing you know, dude, I didn't even get to practice. 2 weeks later, I meet John Pelopelli, the vice president, and I'm on fucking Boston College first, and then they fly me out, and I'm not even ready for it. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I got the medical sales, and then I said, you know what? My true passion is coaching. So Coach Bill Walsh and I got back together in 2004, and we started a nonprofit called Carpe Diem Sports Academy. And that's when I really made a difference, because then I was able to use Varsity Blues to reach out to, I went to University of Washington and spoke. I went out to, I would go different places and give lectures about goals and about setting your goals. And I did that for 10 years. And I've mentored over 25,000 kids. And a lot of my kids right now are doctors, lawyers. I've had a ride. And then I own my own gym, the Factory Training, where guys like Hunter Green, he's one of the stars for the Cincinnati Reds pitcher. And there's so many other kids I've been able to mentor through Varsity Blues. But if it wasn't for Varsity Blues, I don't think that, and Stanford, don't get me wrong, Stanford and being the captain of Stanford, but to be able to bring all these things together, and then Nike, and then be able to talk to people and be able to actually really train them, I've been blessed, man. I've been blessed. I do private speed training right now. I'm doing NIL consulting with the NIL athletes. I have a consulting firm we're trying to build about 30% in, but some Stanford guys, Stanford Network, we're building that. So, life is good, and it's all about helping kids, being with kids. But if it wasn't for Varsity Blues, I wouldn't have the same impact, I don't think.
Right. I heard you say in a previous interview, if you want to be one in a million, you can't do what a million people do. Is that what drives you to better the communities and work with youth? And what does a typical day consist for you?
A typical day consists of me waking up 7 o'clock in the morning, go work out, and then pretty much Sierra Canyon right now for the football team. I'm their speed coach, so we have speed training classes now. Oh my! You know that they can train kids during the day now, for football? It's crazy. So now all of a sudden, and by the way, that school's expensive, and both of my daughters go there. Wink, wink. So I have to get my ass there to make sure I pay my goddamn bill. So, yeah, I'm out there. Then between there, I go to my day job, which is branding and marketing and helping people with their investment opportunities to another company that I work with. And it's basically, I'm kind of like a big networker. I connect people to, and that's what I do during the day. And then at night, I train kids, which I'm going to say it out loud. We kind of privately call it my stripper hours, but it's when I can actually work with kids and just have a good time. I make my money, and it's a good time when you're making, the much money I make per hour to train kids. It's a good time, but no one does what I do. They call me the Mr. Miyagi of speed training.
Wax on, wax off, baby. Now what pro teams? I'm pretty sure I know what college team you root for, Stanford. But what pro team, NFL team do you root for?
What NFL teams do I root for?
Yeah.
Say it again.
I said I'm pretty sure I know what college team you root for, probably Stanford. But what NFL team do you root for?
Okay, let's say Stanford and Ohio State, so I can make sure I always get S, just to let you know. And then what pro teams? I'm a Rams fan because that's where I'm born and raised. I like KC because that's where they left me. But literally, I'm not gonna lie. Anytime I see a winner, like Mahomes or Tom Brady, I'm on their side. I'm not a Patriots fan, never been, but I've been a Brady fan. So anytime Tom Brady's playing, unless he's playing against somebody I know, I'm rooting for Brady. Now with Mahomes, same thing. The kid's a winner. He's a winner. So I know I'm gonna support a winner. And if there's a young winner that can beat this winner, then fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Fight your power and go fight for it. Mahomes right now, digging him.
I know. The Browns could have had Mahomes. We could have had Mahomes and J.J. Watt, but we ended up with Myles Garrett and I don't even know. I think we traded it for Jabril Peppers or something.
You're talking about how you Browns end up is like how my brother's Raiders end up. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, good luck. All right, good luck. I tell my wife every year. And Raiders. Okay, Jamal, good luck. Because I don't know. I wish you guys have it. but
if you got a bad owner, Eliel, that's horrible. You got a shit owner, it's just going to show in the team. I mean, it shows in the Browns, it shows in the Jags, it shows in the Raiders. You got a shit ownership group, you're never going to win. It's just the way it goes in the NFL. You know what?
just saying.
When was the last time you were invited back to campus for like an event, like a reunion team thing? And how often do you go to games at Stanford?
I just went to a Stanford game this year. It was pretty cool because two of my kids were on the sideline. It was homecoming. Okay. So I drove my RV up there. I am a black guy who owns an RV. Fuck yeah. So I drove my RV up there, fucking tailgated, booked my fucking 55-inch screen out, did my fucking thing with my wife. But I try to go as much as I can right now. Of course, we just lost my boy Dave Shaw, because he was the head coach and I played ball with him. So now we have a different coaching staff and we're not starting out really well right now. But I'm thinking actually about coming up maybe this April, just to put my face out there. You know, anything I can do for you boys, let me know, that type of thing. I've always been out there. I'm always supporting my Cardinal. See House at Heart. I'm a Theta Delta Chi. I'm a fraternity member, so I always support my Cardinal.
That's a hard school to get into, Stanford. It was always, when I was coming up, Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Princeton was always like the order of the school. It was right up there, man, top 4. That's cool. I never.
Hey, you know what? What's gonna blow your mind? I got in all of them.
Oh, no way. Well, I mean, if I'm looking at, yeah.
I had 2 older brothers once again. So when my older brother was doing so well, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, where's the younger brother? And it's a high school that's known for football, and it's a private school. So it wasn't about me per se, but everybody was actually going there already to go look at people. So if my grades were good and everything was there, then I was there. But I also averaged 9.8 yards per carry in high school for my career.
Damn.
I rushed for 5,900 yards.
You know, I did some math, and if you take, I don't know how many games you played, if you played when you were a freshman, but when you were telling them you were averaging 133 yards a game in Varsity Blues, if you did the math, like 5,600 yards, whatever you had over 44 games is about 133 yards per game if you take it over a traditional football season.
Yeah, but I was a little bit freaky. Like, you know, my high school, we were really, really good. Like we had 20 kids 22 kids my senior year in our team. I went to Stanford, fullback went to Illinois, quarterback full ride to UCLA, tight end went to Nebraska, receiver went to UCLA. You know what I mean? Like we were stacked, but we only had 20-something kids, but we were stacked. So we were, I don't know, we were just, my senior year, we were unbelievable. Like I remember just 13 carries, 300. One of my games was not even 13. It was like 9 carries, 365 yards.
It's Madden numbers.
First 5 times I touched the ball, all touchdowns.
All right. Troy says, what do you think about Stanford being in the ACC?
We're going to get blown up. To be honest with you, Troy, we're about to get blown up. We can't face it. We couldn't even face the weak ass Pac-10 this year, Pac-12 this year. Look, we went 2-something. We even got beat by Sac State. Troy, this is about to be some smoke in the city, as my grandma would say. Good. Not going to be good.
All right. We ask every guest this question, but between the Beatles or Queen, who would you pick out of those 2 bands?
Queen.
Rockin'.
Because and let me tell you why. The Beatles kicked out Clarence. He was the 5th Beatle. You don't remember Clarence? Eddie Murphy in Saturday Night Live? You know, 5th Beatle?
Oh, I missed the Saturday Night Live with Eddie Murphy in there. Them were the days, boy.
You gotta watch the 5th Beatle. It's so comedy. With Eddie Murphy, when he's like, and Joe Piscopo, he said, are you sure you were the real 5th Beatle? And he goes, yeah, I'm the 5th Beatle. You know what? You better take that sarcasm out your ass. He did shit. That's ridiculous. He was the 5th Beatle named Clarence. And he claimed that John and everybody stole his material. No, but Queen, because you have We Are the Champions.
Okay, that's a great song. Great song. Did you know that in 1978 or 79, I think it was, who's the guy who runs Saturday Night Live? He had an offer to the Beatles. Yeah, he had an offer to the Beatles to come back together. It was a joke. He's like, I got $500 right here if the Beatles reunite. And they say that in like 76, 78, one of those years before Lennon died, that Lennon and McCartney were actually going to go there and do it, but they got stuck in traffic or something. That's an urban legend I remember reading. I don't know how true it is, but that's great.
So wait a second. How tall, by the way? How tall are you? You look like a big brother.
I'm 6'3", actually. 6'3", 250. Yeah.
50? Yeah. All right. I can see you pushing 250. Yeah, you look like my kind of homeboy.
I never lifted though. I never lifted at all, dude. I hated lifting. I was a partier, man. I fell into the sauce really early. And then I got into the military, and that was, forget about it. You take a drunk guy, put him in the service, you might as well just dump some gasoline to try to put out a fire, you know?
Oh, shit. I got look, you might be one of my best friends. His name is Jay White. Actually, I'm rocking his shit. I love my boy. Literally, we're sitting here, supposed to be my birthday. Ran out to talk to you guys, to holler at you guys. My birthday was on Wednesday, and some of my peoples are here. So I'm like, all right, let me handle this shit real quick.
Hell yeah.
What else you got for me?
All right, it says, Doof is asking, he's from the UK. Eliel, what do you think of rugby?
Oh, my gosh. I could do the haka right now. I would. So let me tell you that story. I try to, what's his name?
Doof.
El Doof. So listen here, El Doof. So I tried to play rugby one time, right? Let me tell you how that worked out. So I'm getting the ball. One of my best friends plays rugby. His name is Aaron Blatt. Love him with all my soul. He's an Eagle at one point with the U.S. So I'm watching one of his games, and the coach is like, hey, get your ass over here. Why don't you come into my seconds? And I'm like, all right, motherfucker, let me see what I got. So he go in there, and I'm in there, pitches me the ball. Boom, I took the first guy, right? Not a problem. And all of a sudden, this big motherfucker's charging me. I'm like, fuck this shit. I run out of bounds. That's right, old dude. Start laughing. You don't run out of bounds. This ain't football. So if you run out of bounds in football, just let you in rugby, it's their ball. I thought I was just like, don't touch me. So that was my first lesson. Then this big Tongan came around. In that world, in rugby, they call them coconut heads. And I love my Tongan brothers, Samoan brothers, train a lot of them. But let me tell you, this motherfucker put a shot on me and my ribs, right? And the thing was, couldn't protect myself, couldn't drop a shoulder, couldn't do shit. That's why I told myself, you know what? No pads, I'm good. I'm out. Peace.
So do they hit? So in your opinion, do they? I mean, I've always told people, because I got a lot of UK buddies, and we always argue. You're like, oh, the hitting in rugby's harder. I say the hitting in football's harder because of the pads and all that. But what is, in your opinion, what's the hardest hitter, the rugby or the football?
Rugby knows how to tackle properly, and they know how to drive and how to stick you. Really stick you. They know about sucking in bringing in their arms and bringing their hips and sucking you in to have the biggest impact on your body. Even though they might not cross face and do the stuff that we used to do. Rugby's different. It's different. And when you're not used to tackling, it's almost like smear the queer. Oops, sorry, you can't say that. It's almost like pick it up and run. Sorry about that. It's almost like pick it up and run. We played when you're little, you throw the football up and you run and everybody trying to get you. Right? Mm-hmm. It's like that. Kind of like rugby. But then the strategy behind it. But if you're not used to it, it's like that game you play with the homeboys in like the street or like in like the park. Right. That's where you get fucked up. So if you're a football player, try it. But if you're a rugby player, definitely try football. You will fucking laugh.
Yeah, there's a guy the Chiefs just signed at Louis. I can't remember his name, Louis Ram something, but he was from Wales and he just signed a contract with the Chiefs. I'm interested to see how he does. Good luck to him.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, those guys are badass.
Oh yeah. All right. How did the pandemic affect what you do with coaching, and what did you do to pass the time when you weren't coaching during the pandemic? And how glad are that you're out of it? Because you're like me. You seem like we're a people person. We like being around people. You know what I mean? How did you not keep from going insane? You know, when everybody was just sitting around doing nothing.
To be honest with you, that's the only time I actually felt depression in my life. Everything you said not to keep you going insane almost dropped to a point of insanity. Because what happened was I had a gym that was striving, right? Striving. We just partnered right before he died, COVID hit. So imagine me partnering up with a company. My gym is thriving, we hit up with them. And then COVID hits. And then the two partners I was working with, they started their own company, right? And actually, the partner I was with and a guy I brought in, they started their own thing and did something else during COVID, and they kind of left me out. So then I got totally into a funk. Now, we still have the gym. This is right around the corner from my house. But we never reopened it. So for a certain period of time, I never forget this shit. All right, this is funny. So now I'm like, all right, girls, Daddy got to try to make some money somehow because I'm not training. I don't have my gym. I'm not doing I was doing NCSA, next college scout, so getting kids into college. That was my other thing I was doing. I'm like, all right, I got to stop doing NCSA. I got to stop everything. Let me regroup. I'm like, let me go back to actually coaching. Because when you're owning a gym, you're not really coaching. You dig it? You dig it? I had people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So I got coaches that I've trained and this and that. I'm trying to get, I'm a businessman. I'm not trying to fucking work my whole fucking life off. I'm trying to have these dudes fucking do a shit for me. So all of a sudden, I tell my daughters, I'm like, look, we have to do this thing called Zoom. And we have to do Zoom trainings. This is what we are doing because everybody's home. They're like, what are you talking about? I said, we're going to do our different. I said, Dad's going to put some fucking flavor and some funk into this shit. I said, we're going to call it the backyard boogie. They're like, what? The backyard boogie. I'm like, what are you talking about, Dad? Look, we're going to put on Ice Cube's backyard boogie, oogie, oogie. That's how we'll start it. And all of a sudden, watch. And we'll have our Zoom. And everybody will come out in their backyard. We'll tell them what to do, tell them what equipment to get, this and that, and we'll have it fucking hooked up. Man, we had the backyard boogie going for a while, right? It was great. And then my little daughter, my little Laura, I love my little Lori. She's 13 right now, but she must have been 9 back then. I'm like, look, every day one of you guys has to do the boogie. That's what we try to call it. We're abbreviating it. And little Laura is just, I don't want to do the boogie. I'm like, look, you got to get out there and do the boogie. Your sister did it yesterday. I don't want to do the boogie. So it became like our family joke running around. Who's doing the boogie? But that's how we had to survive for a minute. And we had 20 kids up on there paying I don't know, $30 an hour, a session, whatever. And we'd make the money for whatever it was. But yeah, no longer doing the boogie.
That's funny, man. You made me think of something with my daughter. I got a 14-year-old. And she, during the pandemic, for a year and a half, everywhere we went, she wore a mask. We went to the mall, the pool, everywhere. She was paranoid as fuck for up until 2000, late 2021. Then she just stopped cold and just started. And then she's like, "Why did I do that?" And she was like, "I don't know what got into her head, but she was wearing a mask everywhere. It was just the weirdest time. It was great."
Yeah. That was the time. So my kids are affected by that time period, this and that, but and it affected us. It affected us financially. It affected me financially. Luckily, like I said, I do what I do with my private trainings, teaching kids. Literally, kids will come up, their parents, my kid can't run. I'm like, all right, most kids can't. So what's up? And the kid will be running like this and shit, all crazy. And I'm like, all right, and they'll sit with me and we'll work. All right, lollipop, prayer. Show your hands back. Literally, I call the Mr. Miyagi. Go back slow. Bring it up slow. And then we'll get everything dialed in. And eventually, everything's in order. Then we just move past that. So I've been blessed. After the whole thing with Varsity Blues, I was saying, I worked for Nike in a division called Nike Spark. Speed, power, agility, reaction, quickness. Where I became a Nike, a trainer. And then I became a Nike. They just sent me to Oregon to do all kind of shit. They gave me a $500,000 truck at one point. Seriously. To go train kids. I have my boy Brandon Oliver, my boy Nate, and we would go up to we traveled 70 high schools for 6 months at one point, teaching kids about how to get faster in the 40s and collecting their times and their data for Nike. because Nike was all about taking times and data, and that was like our job.
Okay.
And then they like I worked on a video game with them. Like, dude, I've had a blast. And then I became Nike Spark ambassador, like with them. So my whole thing is like, in the long story short, like training these kids, teaching these kids. That's all I'm about right now. So when they call me about Varsity Blues 2, you know we're supposed to already film it, right?
That was going to be my closer, kind of. I mean, it's some sort of reunion. What would the
We'll get there. We'll get to your closer. We'll wait till your close unless you want to close now.
Well, I mean, I got two more questions, basically. Well, basically, the closer is just what upcoming projects do you have, kind of thing. But let's get into the Varsity Blues 2 thing. Is there a script? If so, has it been pitched to you? What is the plot? I mean, what's the deal there?
All I can tell you is this: that we had a whole deal going with the Quibi network, right? Quibi network, QIB.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That, remember, it faltered. There was supposed to be Varsity Blues, the TV show.
Okay.
We already signed it, locked it. I got one of my students whose dad is an agent. He was like, "I got you, E." So he was already doing the deals. He was doing we're talking about the financial deal. It was locked. I was coming back as coach. I'm like, perfect, assholes. You know what I mean? Last time you wanted to be a football player, a duh. Now you want to be a coach, a duh. I don't got to fucking act. I'm just going to be me. Just give me the fucking script, right? So, didn't have to read for the script. Got the part. Quibi network, COVID, everything shut down. So now I'm just sitting back, like I said. If you guys bring me something, I'll fuck with it. But I'm only going to play Wendell. And I'm only gonna play Wendell because I don't want any stress about the part. I know who to be. I know who fucking Wendell is because you know what? Wendell grew up in white society and so fucking did I. All it is you gotta. I'm like, and I ain't trying to have no accent right now. That motherfucker probably lost his accent when he's at Grandma's. He might have this much, a little bit of drawl, and that's pretty much all he might have. But let me tell you something. Wendell's gonna be fucking ready to fucking coach some fucking goddamn football. That's all I'm talking about. But once again, that's all I'll do.
All right, we got a question from Rico. He says, cheers to Eliel Swinton, you. Who is the better passer, Paul Walker or James Vanderbeek?
Paul, initially, James became better.
Okay.
Initially, Paul was. James became better. And then James later on, because James and I still fuck around with each other every now and then, Instagram or whatever, with like talk or we need something, we'll holler at each other. So he needed a quarterback coach for a part. Like, I don't know how long ago it was. Shit, Varsity Blues is what, 20-something? I don't know how old that shit is. So I'll say 10 years ago. So I hooked him up with my buddy Reggie Smith. And then James works at his fucking trade. Love that guy for it. Love him. Because it's so good to see somebody like actually, I'm not gonna just do it. Like, be it. I want to be it. You know what I mean? So right. I would say Paul, because Paul had football background. Paul played football. James might have played flag. I know when he got that. Oh shit! So check this out. Remember when James was named? I never forget this. Nah. Never mind. I'll leave it. Nah, I'll let it go. So James was named Model of the Year, whatever it was, or like Man of the Year, or whatever it was for like Time or People. Literally, why we were there. And I remember sitting with the article, and we're in the fucking pool, just me and him, and like just chilling, right? Then we might have been sipping on something, or we might have been smoking on something. I don't know, and we might have been smoking on something. Sitting there, and I'm like, dude, this is fucking you. And literally, I have the magazine right in front. Like, this is you, my ninja. And he goes, it's crazy. I'm like, dude, this is fucking gotta be mad crazy for you. But I can tell by the look in his eyes, just the innocence of. Because remember, I'm already coming off NFL, this and that. I'm looking at his eyes, and he's already, Dawson. Man, that guy he's one of the nicest, greatest guys who's on that, on that level. And so was Paul, don't get me wrong. And so was Scott. They were all great.
Heck yeah, man.
They were all great.
All right. So, what besides the Carpe Diem Academy thing you got going? Do you have any projects coming up? Anything you're working on? What's the next 10, 15, 20 years hold for you? And how do people get hold of you?
So Carpe Diem Sports Academy, it was dead in 2014.
Okay.
Okay. So right now, it's about Coach E. I'm kind of like a Jamaican. You know what that means? You have different
Nah.
roles, just whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Well, Jamaicans are known. If you ever watched what's that? In Living Color.
Oh yeah, the sketch. I got 500 jobs. What happened? Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, he got 4 jobs. That whole thing, right? So that's how I kind of find myself into, because literally for me, life is a breeze. So once again, I love coaching the kids. So during the day, that's what I do, like 2 to 3 times, like middle of the day. But in between that, I also am the vice president of a commercial marketing and branding company. But that has also turned into now me working with NIL athletes. Basically, those are the kids I work with. So a lot of these kids, like I just saw one of my students, I just saw his commercial today for one of his ads that he's on. Okay. So I know that these kids are going to get screwed over. So I'm building a group together of people that are here to help these student athletes, because literally they're going to get a whole bunch of money, a lot of these kids, especially African-American community, and they're going to blow it.
Yeah. Well, what is your whole take on that? Do you think, I mean, the gambling is obviously there too now. I mean, I saw that they started stopping like prop bets for individual college players, which is a good thing. But I mean, you work with Nike. Are we going to see the time where we like get away from the NCAA and we have like a Nike college academy, or, you know, I mean, are we going to get fully, because I mean, like some of these back end schools, they have no chance. Like I went to Kent State, for example. Kent State is never going to win a national title no matter what they do. So like, why do these programs, like, are we going to switch to where we have like a big 50 school conference or something? What's your take?
I don't think so. I think first of all, no longer with Nike. Let's make that's clear.
Okay.
It was a division called Spark, and that division dissolved back in, like 2016 or something like that, 14. Anyway, so now I'm solo, by the way. But what we're seeing is, look, the NIL, what I'm talking about, it's something that's new. Of course, athletes are getting paid. So even at your school, they might even have a program that is systematically devised where every kid might get $5,000 a year just for coming to school now. There's different programs that have their colleges are set up differently. At Stanford, like we have a program I'm hearing about right now, which is why I'm so vested in this, is that, and by the way, I'm 30% into my whole idea being sold and put into fruition, let's say. But Stanford has a program where we're actually giving, I think, the kids like, $20,000 a year, but every kid gets paid, as opposed to these other schools that, one kid gets all the money, or most of the money. So the different programs are being set up. I just know that from what I'm hearing in the NCAA world, from different athletic directors, this and that, the next, I would say 18 months, the wild west of the NIL is going to be over.
Okay.
Because right now, Wild West, if you got money, you can buy whatever you want. You can buy people, you can buy players, but the NCAA is not. They have to regulate it. It's kind of like the Wild West. Let's just say the weed industry initially. You know what I mean? Everything gets regulated. After a while, America will see how it is going on, and we live in this great country that it's going to regulate shit. So right now, I just tell somebody told me Kevin Hart just gave $500,000 to this one organization that, in my eyes, I heard about it, read about it. They're not going to be able to exist based on what the NCAA is going to do in the next couple of years. So, might be a bad investment, because I don't believe that the company is invested to they're not going to be able to do it.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that too. I mean, it's. Well, I mean, that's why that people are arguing. That's why guys like Saban getting out of the business. In a way, it's kind of increased the parity a little bit in college basketball, as at least. So, I mean, there are positives, and I think in a couple of years it should be better.
But I'm trying to do this. This is what's happening. So, I know these kids are gonna need some help, right? So, first thing I did was I started reaching out to some networks, guys I know, like ever Silk the Shocker, Master P's, me and Silk. I reached out to Sil. I'm like, what? Because his kid's gonna be an NIL athlete. I'm like, what can we do for these parents? If they sign with like a big deal with like Wasserman, or if they sign with like a small agency, like what can we do for these people? So I talked to another parent friend of mine who also has an NIL kid, and he's a finance genius. He went to Cal. He went then after his name is Jameer. He went to Cal. Then after that, got his master's. And he's like, look, when I went to the NFL, he played in the NFL. He goes, when I went to the NFL gave me a bad finance advisor. The dude tried to take my money. He goes, luckily enough, I knew finances. So he said, if you want me on your team, you know what I want to do? I will do Zoom conversations to educate these other NIL parents and students about the actual business and how it actually works. And I'll break it down to them so they understand. I'm like, now you're talking my language. You're talking about what me and Coach Walsh started. So I'm devising, I'm coming with a team of all. I got kids and so now I'm bringing other parents in because I'm like, listen to what I'm trying to do. So then it's like, do we build you guys your own personal web pages or websites? So all of a sudden, because right now, if they have their own merch, like this is my buddy's merch, seriously. He's selling his own shit. Anybody can sell their own shit. Look what Trump the other day did when he sold some Trump shoes, right? Anybody can sell their own thing, right? Ray Lewis had a bomb-ass sweatshirt down. There was a Ray Lewis sweatshirt the other day. I'm thinking about picking one up. Why? Because Ray Lewis had it on, right? Anybody, it's a different world. So let's educate these kids and get them to the point of, what can they do today, you know, to help themselves? Because at the end of the day, dude, that money's going to go. Are you talking about, remember the Chappelle show when all of a sudden brothers got reparations? I'm rich, bitch. I got a pension. Right? Man, imagine if you're a college kid from East St. Louis, you got a whole bunch of money. And imagine now, let's say you don't even get drafted. Let's say you don't get drafted. Now the whole money train just stopped. What'd you do with that money that you had? Did you invest it? Did you put it away properly? So I got some Stanford brothers right now. They're also developing a Stanford real estate program for NIL kids. So, yeah.
Cool,
great. That's
good stuff. All right, well, heck yeah. We'd like to thank Mr. Eliel Swinton for coming out, brother. It was an honor. This is a fun time, man. I just watched Varsity Blues earlier. If you haven't seen it, go watch it again. It's a great movie, man. It really is. Thank you, brother. Yeah, I'm still here. I was just
peace out. All right. Been my pleasure, guys.
All right, we'll see you, brother. Take it easy now.